have you ever thought about that? If you were to, what would be the dream if somebody were to buy the rights to the Pauline Sokol series? Who would you like to have play Pauline Sokol?
Well, I want Johnny Depp to play everyone in the book. That's my
Even
goal.
the female characters, because he can pull it off.
He could do that. Actually, I have a 6 foot tall, which Johnny's a little bit shorter than that, but a transvestite, Goldie Perlman, who's ex-Army intelligent, dresses like Marilyn Monroe, and I could see him in that role. Johnny Depp would be excellent in that role.
Yes, you have that transvestite character.
One of my fan websites one time had a contest or a thing about who they thought would be good in each role. I'm not up on the young male actors all that much nowadays, but for the Pauline character, I think somebody like
I was thinking Reese Witherspoon.
She would be good. She would be very
really good.
Kate Hudson, I could see
or doing that also.
The one that was on Grey's Anatomy. I can never think of her name now. The blonde.
The blonde on Grey's Anatomy, and she's very popular, and I'll think of her name.
Right, eventually.
When it's too late to put into this tape,
but
I will
she would
think
be
of her
one.
name.
I
yes,
think
she would be
good
great.
in it,
now, but the Jagger, who would play Jagger?
See, that I would have a hard time with that
because he's very mysterious. So it'd be hard to pin him down.
I know. I think that I probably, because no one could, Johnny Depp. I'm sorry, but Johnny Depp.
I don't know, but
he could do dual roles.
Can Johnny Depp do? Have we ever seen Johnny Depp do an alpha hero? Because Jagger's definitely an alpha dude.
I think he's just talented enough to do anything, and you don't see Johnny Depp. No matter what role he's in, you don't see Johnny Depp. You believe that's who he is, and that's why I would like to see my characters come to life through him. Yeah.
Yes. Now, for my Mercy series, the series that I'm working on, I think I've pretty much decided on Angelina Jolie for Mercy. Okay.
She would be great.
Yeah, she'd be great.
Yeah.
But I also waver on the hero. Maybe Matthew McConaughey, maybe not. What's interesting is I was out in California for the launch of the last book in the series, and my character lives on a boat, and he's kind of a strong silent type living on a boat, and a man came up to me at the launch party just convinced that I had based the character on him.
Oh.
Because he lived on his boat in the Newport Harbor. He says, I don't remember meeting you, and I talked to him a little bit and realized that he'd moved to town about a month after I moved away, so there was no chance that I could possibly have even subliminally based the character on him, but I didn't tell him.
That similar thing has happened to me, that the boss in my character, in my novels, I mean, Fabio Scarpello. No, he's a sleazy, polyester-wearing, cigar-smoking.
Boy, if somebody thinks you based them on...
No, I actually had the real Fabio Scarpello send me an email. His name is the exact same, and he thinks it's hysterical, which is very good.
I saw that on your blog.
I
saw that on your blog.
He lives in Bali, Indonesia. However, he's an international journalist, and that's the most miscast character I have ever written. When I saw the picture of him, he should be Jagger.
He's young and good looking, and but I saw that. I read that on your blog.
Right.
I
have his
really
picture up there. If anybody wants to see it, they could just go to my blog. It's his wedding day with his Norwegian wife, but Fabio is just gorgeous and nothing like the character of my books.
One of the things that editors will tell you when you're writing a book is that you shouldn't base the characters on real people because you might have a liability. But I found that when I went back to the town where the book was set, because mine are set in a real town, that people were disappointed. They were like, why am I not in your book? I have this restaurant right down the street, and I'm a bartender there, and I do not see myself in your book anywhere, and I want to know why I am not in your book. Put me in your next one. Like, well, maybe.
Personally, I don't think there's anybody in real life that's interesting enough to be a fictional character. Well, they have to be larger than life.
There are definitely some larger than life people out there. In fact, there's a current political candidate that if I were to put a character with that many interesting traits in a book, I'm sure my editor would say, oh no, no one's going to buy this. No one could no one could really be like this. It's too much. Take a couple of those traits away. But no, I don't have any of my characters based exactly on a person, but I have some that are blends of 3 or 4 people that I met.
We all do that a little bit.
And I don't think it's possible. You tell me if you agree. I don't think it's possible to write for a female writer to write a female protagonist and not put a little bit of ourself in there?
No, I think you do. I think everybody does. Look at Stephen King. I mean, and I think there's a lot of similarities in our work, I find. You look at him and he would never be like a historical writer or something like that. He looks like a horror writer. Not that there's anything wrong with his looks, but there's very many similarities. My books are very fast-paced. They're short. I write short. I'm not.
You're a very high-energy person,
right?
But I see that.
And someone just recently said to me that they said, for a writer, I'm surprised your emails aren't longer. But I write short emails. I have historical writers as friends that write great, big, long, detailed emails. So yes, a lot of our personality comes out. It's like write what you know. I think my sense of humor is similar to Pauline's.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. Now, my character that's my leading character in my series, she's a much darker character than I am, but I think that we have some shared experiences.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I can see that we're going to be coming to a close pretty soon, so I'm going to ask you if you would read just a little bit from your Christmas book, From Sugar Plums and Scandal, a little bit at the beginning of the story there, which I thought was quite entertaining.
Well, the idea was to have a Christmas story that was somehow mysterious, but I didn't want to do a murder for a Christmas story. So the title of this is All I Want for Christmas is My Two Front Teeth.
And I did read this. It's about somebody who has
he's lost his
teeth. He's lost his dentures. It's actually very funny.
He's a little Polish man.
Little Polish man with no
teeth.
teeth.
Reads about it in the paper, and she decides to help him with her investigation.
After her mother puts her under a little pressure to do so.
Right. So it starts out actually with Pauline reading from the newspaper, and this is what she reads. According to the Druids, mistletoe was traditionally considered to be the semen of the gods. I looked at the Hope Valley Sentinel article and wondered if the editor of our local newspaper had gone nuts. Semen of the gods, they had the nerve to print such sexual innuendos in this ethnic, moral, homespun, wonder-bred suburban Connecticut town? With my jaw down to my chest, a very common occurrence when I'm stunned, I read on that the liquid of the berries looked and had the texture of the semen. Geez, they actually printed that in a newspaper where folks like Mrs. Kaminsky, the local gossip, Mrs. Gansecki, the local over 80 stud, and Miss Naraki, the local moral majority, would read. Yikes! Slowly I looked up to see the ball of mistletoe hanging from my mother's foyer ceiling. Then I scrunched up the newspaper, only the semenberry article, and stuck it into the pocket of my jeans. Stella Sokol would rather die than hang those kinds of berries from her 1960 ceiling.
That's absolutely true. That's so true of that character. She would be so shocked to hear that there was anything like that.
However, she's always trying to fix her up. She's always trying to get Pauline married off.
That's true. She is always trying to marry her off. She's a good Polish mother.
She is.
She is. And I thought of you. I was doing some work in New Britain this last week, and I went to one of these neighborhoods that all the grocery stores have Polish names, and there were Polish restaurants, and I did stop and have some pierogies for lunch. And I thought of you when we did that. They were excellent. They were really excellent. But as long as we have a few more minutes left, is there something that you'd like to tell? Do you have any upcoming appearances? Because I know you're always all over the place.
The next thing I'll be going to will be RT, the Romantic Times Conference. It's in Orlando, Florida.
It's in Orlando this year. I've been to the Romantic Times Conference, and that is so much fun.
It is. It's a great conference for readers to meet the authors that they like.
And if somebody wants to meet you in person, they can always go to your website, and that's laurieavocado.com, and look at your calendar and find out where they can meet you.
I have an appearance page.
And if they want to know more about your books, they can find out all about your books on your website too.
Right.
Okay, and I recommend that they do that, and they should look up RomVets.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Because RomVets is a fascinating organization, and the Romance Writers of America.
Right.
And the Connecticut Romance Writers. Let's not forget
the Mystery Writers of America.
And the Mystery Writers of America and Sisters in Crime. What organizations are you not a member of, Lori? I think that would be an easier thing.
Communist Party, maybe?
Not yet, no. Well, thanks very, very much for joining us today.
Thank you for
and I hope
having
you'll come back next time you have a new release that's coming out. And it's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, Toni.
Thanks very much. And that's all for today.
Thanks.